it's having an integrated regulatory approach upfront in development, knowing who the partners are, if you need a 510K versus not, and ensuring that you understand the roles and responsibilities between a partnership and the actual market authorization holder, of who's responsible for what, to ensure that you're streamlining submission up front so you don't have delays where all of a sudden you have a digital connected cap that you want to add, or it might be a digital application that you want to add all of a sudden. And companies are struggling with how do you apply that now? After, like, to Courtney's point, you already submitted, say, the IND or even the BLA, maybe if that's the product, into the FDA or into any international regulatory authority. Now you want to do an add-on, and who's the partner for that, and how do you manage that process from a regulatory approach for the entire product, for the asset? Because when you're looking at this, you got to remember, when we develop these strategies, it's got to be about the whole asset, not a piece of it.
Yep. And then I think too, even bringing this into the clinical trial space with the clinical trial digital tools program, we're bringing in a lot more digital tools at the clinical trials phase to collect a lot more data at the clinical trial phase. So what do we need to do as far as validating those tools? A lot more software, a lot more tracking, and really helping the agency understand how we're ensuring that those tools are fit for purpose, but not necessarily doing an entire device development program for the purposes of a clinical trial, digital tool. So it's understanding, a phase appropriateness and then communicating that with the health authority at the right level. I think a lot of people are really struggling with that communication piece and helping understand what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do at what level of development. And again, like Jim said, some of that's understand at the asset level, and then what you need at what phase of the asset. What are you going to need in the clinical study phase of the asset may not be the same thing you're going to need at the clinical phase of the asset. So mapping that journey out on the life cycle of it to make sure you understand what players you're going to need at each phase of the journey.